We got anything on that ray I went up against?
We analyzed the wreckage. Its musculature had been replaced with CNT muscle fiber. The same type as you, or most any cyborg. This improved its power output and left more room in the chassis for other equipment. It seems they filled this space with Vetronics and extra weapons.
Like that heat blade and plasma gun. Plasma loses effectiveness in the air pretty quickly, but it's still a hell of a close-range weapon.
Large-scale UGs have a growing problem fighting smaller, more agile opponents like you, Raiden. This is why we now see UGs armed with new countermeasures, such as this Ray had.
Kev, you dig up anything more on Jetstream Sam?
Yeah, actually a bit. Still a lot of missing pieces.
I'll take what I can.
Right. Full name, Samuel Rodriguez. Born in Brazil, so I guess that'd be more like Samuel Rodriguez. He's actually not one of the Winds of Destruction. He's not even a Desperado employee.
Yeah. Didn't seem like your typical PMC to me.
His father ran a Brazilian Kenjutsu dojo.
Genjutsu. That's a school of Japanese swordplay.
A lot of Japanese immigrated to Brazil way back when. They brought martial arts with them. Those evolved and became their own offshoots. You've heard of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? It's their variation on Judo. Brazilian Kenjutsu's the same kind of thing. A different evolution of the old samurai sword skills. Bit of capoeira and some other stuff mixed in. Anyway, I did some digging. Apparently, the Rodriguez dojo was a big proponent of the Uridachi style.
Uridachi, a.k.a. Setsujinken, the murdering sword. Basically the polar opposite of my sword of justice.
Rodriguez Kenjutsu uses kicks, sword butts, even throws. Unpredictable and very deadly. Anyway, this is interesting. Sam's father was killed by one of his pupils. There were rumors one of the cartels was involved, but it's not clear how or why. And after that, Sam disappears for a while, then comes back, kills the guy who killed his dad, and leaves Brazil. He travels the world for a while, taking odd jobs, bodyguard, cleaner for the mob, etc., etc. Made a big name for himself in the criminal underworld, especially in Central and South America. One story has Sam taking out a mafia hit squad, 10 men, all with assault rifles, using only his sword.
Not unheard of for a cyborg.
This was back in the early 2000s.
Come on. He did that without enhancements? And pre-SOP?
That's the story anyway. And he's a cyborg now, so he could only be stronger. Not to freak you out or anything.
I told you, Kev. I got a reading on his fighting style from last time, and my body's been upgraded. I'll be fine.
Yeah. No. I know you will be.
So, Doc, if brainjacking can access someone's memory, can't we basically see everything in their past?
Well, that would depend on precisely what you mean by see their past. The brain does not store every single detail the senses take in, you know. It records highlights, further simplified into a highly symbolic form, all to lighten the amount of data. We know how the brain reacts to what it was previously aware of. We can even gauge the emotion provoked. But reproducing memories? No. I've seen little progress in research to this area.
But say we directly linked my brainstem with the nanomachines of a brainjacking victim. Couldn't I read their memories?
There have been attempts at such things, but it is not so simple, you know. The connections between successive memories make up one's identity. If you disturb that, for example, say we remove all memories you have of being yourself and replace them with my own.
Yeah.
You would feel you were the great Dr. Wilhelm Vogt. You would behave very similar to how I do. However, what if instead you kept your own memories and we added mine to them? You would feel you are both Raiden and Wilhelm Vogt. Suddenly your memories would not lead one to the next. You would be confused, disoriented, without a sense of which man you were, and thus how you should behave. So, you see, the very concept is not practical for most military applications. In trying to read an enemy's mind, you would, in a sense, become that enemy.
You wouldn't know which side you were fighting for.
Precisely. Cyborg memories are completely different, of course. A cyborg's visuals are often monitored by outside parties, much as we do with yours. This visual data can, of course, be recorded for later analysis. All with full video and all in the holographic memory in their left hands.
So you can just sit back and enjoy the movie?
Well, it's not always recorded, mind you. And even then, there's the issue of locating the desired data buried inside all that video. You might need to comb 10 days of recordings from 10 cyborgs to find a single person or document. That is 100 days of work. Even replayed double speed, 50 days.
Can't you automate the search?
Of course. You can flag any time a certain face appears or if certain words are said. But the process is not perfect, and it still requires time, you know. Besides which, often one doesn't know what they are searching for until they find it. But should you ever require a search through your memory, Raiden, I would be happy to assist you.
Yeah, for a modest fee, I'm sure.
You know, I have to hand it to you guys. So much...
It's not...
No?
Well, the back artifact we all
Sounds-
used to be compared... That's right. Whatever. It's not the diff...
So-
Well, we still... It's a lot... Of course.
How do you-
There was... I've still... The tech... Maybe going and I tried...
how-
Well, things are getting artificial.
Sure.
So who actually owns this?
On the...
So all...
It does...
How do you...
The get... Not...
But that...
Ma... The...
So...
The... Any... Perhaps...
And that... And...
Perhaps...
Yeah, let me get...
We all decide.
Right.
The...
Hey, Kev. You have anything on that sword Sam was using? Didn't seem like your garden variety high-frequency blade.
It's not. It's a samurai sword. The real deal. 16th century make, handed down in his family ever since. Sam had it recast as a high-frequency blade. Doesn't say by who.
Is this something I need to worry about?
Maybe. You know the basics of sword making, right? The harder the metal, the better it cuts, but also the more brittle it is. So a sword's gotta be sturdy, but also just pliable enough to absorb shock without breaking. Walking that line, striking that balance, that's what makes sword crafting an art. Japanese swords fuse different types of iron, each with different amounts of carbon. Different levels of flexibility, in other words. So the blade can be tough and razor sharp.
And that gets multiplied when the sword gets the HF treatment?
Yeah. Basically, the high-frequency upgrade sets the blade vibrating really, really fast, right? That vibration acts on the electron shells of atoms in the sword and the local electromagnetic field. When the EMF achieves resonance, the blade's bonding is strengthened. At a quantum level, it's like the entire sword is made up of the exact same particle type. It also disrupts any atoms it comes into contact with. Say, those that make up the target. Their electron clouds shrink from exposure to quantum decoherence at the Planck scale. In other words, it electrically severs the bonds that keep the target's atoms together.
You lost me around the EMF part.
And that's the dumbed-down explanation. To be honest, even I don't understand all the details. Point is, an HF upgrade is like an amplifier. It multiplies what's already there. So Sam's badass blade might give him the edge. I mean, you know what I mean.
The original sword was really that good?
Sounds like it. Says here it's a Murasama blade.
Murasama. Sounds familiar.
One of the top 10 best-known sword makers worldwide, easy. In Japan, he is legendary. They say his swords thirst for blood, that they choose who will wield them, you know, that sort of thing.
Ooh, now I really am scared.
I know, right?
I have to say, Doc, it's almost scary everything nanomachines are capable of. SOP, brainjacking.
Oh, but the cyborg is capable of even more.
You think?
I do. With nanomachines. You know this name has always bothered me, nanomachine. They are much more than smaller versions of existing machines. So much more. You cannot just take a motor and make it all teeny tiny, you know? A human chromosome is 10 micrometers long, roughly. A nanometer is 1/100th that length. These devices must be crafted at the molecular level to work at that scale. It is far more to do with molecular biology than mechanical engineering.
Okay, Doc, but where are you going with it?
It is, however, now possible to create proteins that simulate viral functions, effectively fooling natural human cells into taking on a wide range of less conventional characteristics, boosting strength or resilience, or even regenerative ability. Not to CNT muscle fiber levels, of course. After all, these molecules and proteins can only make use of the materials at hand. That is to say, the atoms that naturally occur within the human body.
I'm not sure I follow. Are you saying cyborg tech is already more advanced than nanomachines?
Well, not necessarily. But the potential for future growth seems much greater, does it not? Natural means can only rearrange what is already there. Boost one ability too far, and you might take away from another. If the human race is to truly evolve, I believe we must shed this DNA-driven organic flesh and exchange it for something far more functional. Cyborg technology seems better suited to this purpose, at least in terms of military applications. But then, who knows? A revolution in nanotechnology could be occurring even as we speak. Progress rarely takes the form we expect, you know? Such is the great frustration and glory of science.
Where the hell did Desperado get all these cyborgs anyway, Kev?
Hard to say. They're not as rare as they once were, but still. Of all registered PMC troops, we're still talking, what, 3% have enhancements? Maybe 5% tops. Mostly career military who got hurt on the battlefield one way or another. Getting their arms or legs back lets them keep earning a living. But most able-bodied soldiers are still reluctant to sacrifice their own healthy body parts. Plus, the surgery is highly specialized. Expensive as hell. Not to mention maintenance costs after that. Unless insurance is foot in the bill, most guys couldn't afford enhancements even if they wanted to.
Maverick's got some cyborgs. What's their story? They all wounded in action?
Mostly. I heard a few saved up and paid for it themselves, but just a few. There is this one crazy blonde guy, though. I heard he asked for a full body conversion.
The Patriots didn't leave me much of a body to begin with. I just had Herr Doctor finish what they started.
You know I'm just giving you shit, man. Anyway, yeah. Looking at the numbers, cyborg soldiers are still a pretty small minority. Not really surprising when only contractors in developed countries are offered insurance. Third world soldiers get hurt out on the field, and that's all she wrote. They can't work as a merc anymore. Most times, they can't really work at all.
Well, Desperado's up to something, because cyborgs are definitely not in the minority here.
I've heard of some PMCs covering the cost of the surgery for their disabled. The mercs get their career back, sure, but the PMCs aren't exactly running a charity. These guys have to work to pay it off until the company at least breaks even on them. Any cyborg breaks his contract early would probably be in debt for the rest of his life.
You think that's Desperado's MO?
I can't prove it, but sure as hell wouldn't surprise me.
Doc, I'm seeing Desperado cyborgs explode here after I take them down.
For security purposes, I would imagine. Cyborgs often use classified tech from suppliers who take great pains to maintain their trade secrets. Most likely, these models have a self-destruct failsafe that triggers once they cannot defend themselves.
So they die even though their brains could be transferred to a new body?
I understand your concern, Raiden, but I'm sure these conditions were clearly stated in their contracts. This is one area that is well regulated by the law. PMCs must inform their workers of such things. These men knew the danger when they signed up. No doubt they were compensated for the additional risk.
Right.
You should be more concerned with the potential for data loss in these explosions. They could damage or even erase the holographic memory in their left hands. Though to think on it, the data is most likely automatically wiped before detonation, just in case it would survive the explosion and resulting shockwave, you know.
Yeah. Sure, Doc.
You must remove the hands before their critical system shutdown sequence can activate. Remember it this way. Before you kill, make certain no cyborg is left with a left hand.
So what kind of deal does Maverick offer its contractors?
Oh yeah, I forgot you're full-time too. You never contracted with us?
Nope. Boris invited me on board the first time we talked about it. We've known each other since Area 51. Didn't have any reason to turn him down, so yeah. Never really considered the contract route.
Right. Well, it's actually pretty rare for guys on the ground like you to be full-timers. Most of Maverick soldiers are contractors, just like with any other PMC. It just makes sense. After all, it's never the same job twice in this business. Each mission has its own requirements. Force size, skill set, all that crap. So generally, we contract out on a per-mission basis, or a fixed schedule for longer jobs. A lot of US companies are doing it that way lately, not just PMCs. Besides, a good contractor can earn more than most regular full-time employees. Definitely a hell of a lot more than regular military.
And if they want to quit, can they get out of their contract?
Yep. Of course, just up and quitting right in the middle of a mission would cause problems. Just like any other job, you know? We'd want some notice to settle on a new end date, but hold up. You're not thinking of leaving us, are you?
Just curious.
Raiden, have I told you of the research I was conducting before we met?
Several times.
It was the Cold War. East Germany. Ah, the DDR. My field was infantry weapon research. It was a magical time. Secret research. Top secret, you know. All for the Soviets, but so exciting. I was free to explore wherever my findings took me. I never had a budget request refused. Not once. I was young then. Working, always working. Most nights I would sleep under my desk, you know. Call it nostalgie, but East Germany wasn't so bad. Nostalgie being German for East nostalgia, of course.
Of course.
Yes, the bureaucracy had its problems. But my colleagues, the discoveries. Ah, well. In any case, after unification, they suddenly shut down our entire facility. Everything I'd worked for, my job, my research, poof, gone just like that.
Sounds rough.
I've often said I would be a homeless vagrant if myoelectric prosthesis hadn't lent me a hand. Artificial limbs were crude props then, you know, designed only for appearances. They were hardly functional. If you lost an arm or leg, you were disabled, and that was that. The key was running actuators based on electromyography signals from the skin's surface, of course. This enabled a great range of movements, even more so than a natural limb. It was then I realized my knowledge of robotics and engineering could come in handy. So, I contacted a prosthesis laboratory in Dortmund, and I was hired immediately. Patents filed in my name made quite a bit of money, you know. Soon I was made the head of my own lab.
And that's when you started filling orders from PMCs.
Indeed. From contractors who'd been referred by their employers, to be exact. Workers from your industry quickly became our best customers. We were flooded with orders. But my field was never full body conversions. You can imagine my surprise when Boris contacted me.
Yeah. Our previous cybernetics maintenance guy went into hiding.
But I built on my knowledge and now consider myself an expert on all cyborgs, both partial and full body.
Glad I could help with your on-the-job training. Seriously, though, we're lucky to have you on board.
Yes, I should think we have both benefited from our arrangement. Which reminds me, do not forget our other arrangement. The cyborg's left hands, if you would.
Got it. You still busy with all that other work, Kev?
You know me, man. Kev of all trades. I got a lot on my plate. Briefing prep, arms procurement, client negotiation, HR, biz dev, accounting, you name it. Lately, though, I've been focusing more on sales and on-site coordination. Oh, and advisor work like this.
Never sleep, do you?
Things have been better since Courtney joined up, at least.
You still busy with...
You know, briefing lately.
Never...
Raiden, are you fully versed in the features of your AR display? It can serve many functions, you know.
Do I hear un lecture coming on?
A lecture? No, of course not. I'm hardly an expert. Of course, I know the first practical application of the technology was for aircraft HUDs. Then head-mounted displays, HMDs. The data could be seen even as the viewer moved their head. As the technology improved, it was integrated into retinal imaging, contact lenses. Soon it became standard issue not just for pilots, but infantry soldiers as well. Of course, with cyborgs such as yourself, the data can be fed directly to the optic nerve.
No lecture, huh? Anyway, there's more to my augmented reality than just upgraded HMD tech.
Of course there is, Dummkopf. You did not let me finish.
Oh, you weren't finished?
AR is a much broader concept. It is more a design concept than a particular imaging methodology. It encompasses HUDs, HMDs, any and all manner of visual real-time data overlay. Though recently, some reserve the AR label for virtual objects the subject can both see and touch. For example, your codec menu and zoom slider. Such objects do not exist anywhere in the real world, not even as images. They are fed directly to your optic nerve, so only you can see them. Yet, when you interact with them, sensory feedback is delivered to the nerves in your fingers. It gives you the sense of touching a thing that does not exist.
Beats lugging around a sat radio and giant scope, that's for sure.
There is another school of thought on precisely what constitutes AR.
Seriously, more of this?
It defines AR as anything which obscures the boundary between reality and that experienced by the viewer.
Well, how would that be different from VR?
Well, for example, let's say that you and I are having a nice chat face to face. Suddenly, I disappear. Poof! And in my place appears a ravishing, nubile young woman. Is the girl the projected image or the reality? Perhaps I was the AR. How would you know?
The accent might be a clue.
Ah, such things can be controlled with a simple hack of your auditory nerves.
Well, that's comforting. So how is this different from VR again?
Well, I suppose, strictly speaking, it is rather similar. Both are a method for completely fooling the senses, rather than simply augmenting them. Although, technically it would be MR, mixed reality, since there are some real elements involved. Yes, of course, that would be the distinction and the correct term. In any case, the advance of MR technology leads to many interesting philosophical questions. What happens when appearances cease to have meaning? It is no longer see it to believe it, after all. It could make for a great advance in cyborg acceptance, you know. They could project a perfectly normal human body to be seen by anyone who can perceive MR.
I don't know. Sounds like it might cause more problems than it'd solve to me. Hey, Doc. What can you tell me about the carbon nanotubes used in artificial muscles? I know they're the real key behind the proliferation of cyborgs, but...
Well, a carbon nanotube, or CNT, is a sheet of carbon graphite formed like a tube. They range from 15 nanometers in diameter all the way down to under 1 nanometer. 1 nanometer, you recall, is one billionth of a meter. Quite small. As you've likely seen, the carbon atoms that make up the sheet are organized in a 6-point ring shape. These hexagonal structures are connected to each other along their edges.
Sort of like a soccer ball.
Precisely. Such structures are known as Buckminster fullerene. CNTs were discovered by accident while scientists were researching other fullerenes. CNTs have assorted properties, each with the potential to drive vast leaps in industrial technology. Consider, for example, that the conducting properties and resistance to strong currents far outclass copper. They have great mechanical strength and can be shaped into incredibly thin form factors, all of which can directly contribute to improving integrated circuits. Furthermore, the atomic links in sp2 carbon are the strongest of all types of atoms. Its tensile strength is greater than even diamond. All that, and its weight is only half that of aluminum. It is also quite elastic, making it ideal for bomb-proofing vehicles, buildings, and other structures.
Sounds like some kind of wonder material.
There have been numerous plans drawn up for orbital elevators in the past. The problem being that no material was strong enough to make them practical. CNTs make such dreams one step closer to reality. You can change their structures by using the right power voltage, and they can withstand temperatures between minus 190 and plus 1500 degrees centigrade. They feature a large surface area and an empty space within the tube. This allows for such things as fuel and catalysts to be stored inside. It's that particular trait which has enabled the development of fuel cell-infused artificial muscles.
Straight out of sci-fi, huh?
Well, truth is stranger than fiction. Science fiction, even. Scientists are currently expanding upon all of CNT's uses. But it has taken a fair amount of time since their discovery for practical implementations to pop up. Historically, mass manufacture was deemed too difficult, the costs astronomical.
Practical manufacturing methods were established in the early 2010s, but the Patriots hushed that up.
Indeed. And now that it's out in the wild, we are finally well and truly in the carbon nanotube age. Stay vigilant, Raiden.
was wondering when you'd come, Jack the Ripper.
No one calls me that anymore. Dolsaev, where is he?
I can show you a better time than that crusty old bear.
You're in charge here?
I am Mistral, the cold wind of France. And your reputation precedes you. Liberian, but white as snow. A natural-born killer, even as a child.
That was a long time ago.
I was born in Algeria myself, you know. I'm only half French.
And?
We had our own civil war in the 90s. So you see? Cut from the same cloth, you and I.
You don't know me.
I lost my whole family. Everything. But I butchered those fuckers. My family's killers. That's when I realized I am a killer too. And a good one at that. I slaughtered dozens in Iraq, in Afghanistan. I'd found my calling.
Proud of that, are you?
What happened, happened. To be honest, I found it quite dull. My enemies fell like domino, one after another. Not once did I feel threatened. I was adrift, without challenge, without purpose. At times, I even envied my prey. At least they had a cause to die for. And then, I met him.
Who?
And I knew what I had been missing. His ideals gave my life meaning. Ideals, Jack. What are yours?
I protect the weak.
Still? So naive.
And if I must kill to protect them, then so be it.
It seems we have less in common than I thought.
I'll take that as a compliment.
If you would kill for your ideals, then surely you are ready to die for them.
If the tripods are in your way, take them out. Just be careful you are not so distracted that she takes you off guard, yes?
Ryder, you all right? That is one freaky lady. Yikes.
Aw, come on, Kev. Maybe she just needs to meet the right guy. I could slip her your number.
That's okay, man. I'm good. Besides, shouldn't you be worried about saving your own ass at the moment?
Well, yeah. Just thinking about how I'm gonna handle this.
If you're looking for advice, try hitting up Boris. Doctor might have some info, too. From the UG and Cyborg angle.
So she uses an augmentary arm composed of tripods. I cannot imagine how she controls such a thing all on her own, but it is quite intriguing.
Stay with me here, Doc. I need to destroy it, not study it.
Yes, but just look at it. How it doubles as a weapon. So elegant, so efficient. She can twist its joints and crack it like a whip, or pull it tight to lock it solid. And even should you destroy it, she can simply construct a new one using nearby tripods.
Ugh, this is gonna take forever.
Not necessarily. Until a new prosthesis is formed, she is defenseless, you know. There is your chance. Of course, you must still be wary of the tripod arm unit once it is detached. Even if she cannot wield it, she could resort to throwing it at you. The electrolytes in the fuel cells of those units are highly explosive should they have a detonator.
She's so cruel the way she stomps on those tripods, just tosses them around. I feel so sorry for those little guys.
You feel sorry for robots sent to kill me?
Well, I mean, they're kind of cute, right? How they scamper around. They're like little mice.
You call that cute? I'd call it creepy.
Not at all. Trust me, ask any girl and they'll say the exact same thing.
Okay, sure, Courtney. I'll get right on that.
All right, whatever. You want to save or what? Save complete. Be careful riding.
I can handle a lot more than this. Ready to slice off some more?
Mistro, report! Your vitals are dropping.
I lost. So this is how they felt.
What?
Dying. For a cause.
Wait. No. Hold on.
I am sorry. He was too much.
I do not need apology. I need you alive.
But I know you will never fall.
What is this talk about?
Je t'aime. De tout mon corps.
Je t'aime. Mister, you never...
She's not talking to you, idiot.
You killed her! You vile nuts! Murderer!
That's rich coming from you. It's overdose, I am. Surrender. Translation.
Why would I surrender? We are exactly where I want.
Shit.
Built with Russian money to make Russian money. It is no plan for Abkhaz. It is their prison. But now, they will be free!
Damn. Crazy son of a bitch.
Raiden? Raiden, what happened?
Bastard blew himself up.
I see. Time to get you out of there. We're sending a helicopter. Secure an LZ.
Understood.
So you've got some kind of disguise lined up, right?
Yep, all set.
Hope so. You'd be a little conspicuous just walking the streets.
Relax, Kev. I'll blend right in.
Yeah. Well, just get into the sewer system ASAP. Hopefully anyone who notices you will just mind their own business. You sure you want the K9000 there along for this one?
I had the good doctor make some adjustments along with the repairs. Remote piloting and AI wiping have been disabled. So yeah, I say let's throw him a bone.
Wordplay. My exoskeleton resembles a canine. Canines enjoy bones. Amusing on 2 levels.
Let's go.
¿Quién es ese güey? ¿Un mariachi? ¿No? ¿Un cyborg? Ese es sombrero. ¿Qué?
Adiós, amigos.
¿Viste? Qué raro, ¿eh? Hay que hacer que no lo vimos. Vámonos ya.
It's right. I'm in the sewer system.
All right, let's get started. Your mission's to investigate the Desperado-affiliated research center somewhere in that area. According to the intel from our client, the lab's been dumping illegal waste into those sewers. FYI, they're also involved with the cartels in human trafficking. Allegedly, anyway.
This just gets better and better.
Tell me about it. We need you to infiltrate the lab and find out everything you can. Of course, you'll have to find it first. We still don't know the exact location.
So I'm looking for anywhere the lab might hook up with the sewers?
Yep. If they're actually dumping waste, they've got to link up somehow. Find that connection, sneak into the lab, and see if you can find evidence implicating them on anything.
No problem. Stealth's my specialty.
Right. Well, we'll see.
Do we have any idea what kind of research they're doing there?
Not really. Maybe something related to all the people they're trafficking.
Like experimentation?
It's possible. First things first, though. Find a way into that lab. Oh, right. It says here the locals say black crocodiles live in those sewers, so, you know, watch out.
Black crocodiles? Could they be talking about UGs?
Maybe just an urban legend. But still, be careful.
I will scout ahead. You will provide backup.
Sir, yes, sir.
Commence operation. Right. Unidentified UGs are patrolling the sewers. Exercise caution.
Can't believe Dolzaev blew himself up.
Pretty common terror tactic. You don't usually see the leaders doing it, though. It's one thing to get your flock pumped up on the glory of dying for the cause, but it's not often they actually go through with it themselves.
You gotta have a public face, after all. The guy who gets to claim responsibility on the evening news.
In a weird way, Dolzaev showed some serious dedication. Not that I'm about to praise him for it.
Yeah, still a terrorist. A suicide bomber in the end.
If that's what you want to call him. Still, he kind of failed at it.
How so?
Well, all that explosion did was put a dent in Abkhazia's budget. More Russia's, really. They're the ones rebuilding the refinery. The coup didn't work out. He couldn't overthrow the government. He was barely a blip on Russia's radar.
So, you're saying the bombing didn't accomplish any of his goals? He did it just because he was cornered? Sounds more like just plain suicide.
Yeah. Probably wanted to end things with his own hands. Like a samurai committing harakiri.
Still not something to be commended for, though.
Yeah. Lumping him in with true warriors like the samurai just gives them a bad name.